Welcome to the Grayfield Artists. I am so glad you're here. I absolutely love doing this podcast and building a community. What an honor. This has been so fun. And also, we have our ebook and paperback book available on Amazon if you'd like to purchase that. You also can buy it from me directly at stephaniepagestudio.com, and I will hand sign a book for you. They both cost the same. Thank you for showing up today. I hope you enjoyed the show. Welcome back to the Grateful Artist. I'm your host, Stephanie Paige, and I am overjoyed to be able to interview my favorite artist, Christian Dore. He is an international artist. He has collectors all over the world. He has success in all fields that he has done. And he's a great artist to actually interview because he has experienced it all. He has been a professional artist for companies. He has been an independent artist. He has been a gallery representative artist, and he also is a professor, a teacher. So there's a lot of wonderful things that he can share with us. And I am a collector of his work. He creates mystical wildlife paintings that are so stylistic and beautiful. It's when you see his work, you know it's his. And he's just a very authentic person, and he's one of my favorite people. And I hope you enjoy the interview. Hello, Christian Dore. Thank you so much for showing up today. My gosh, we're so honored.
Oh, Stephanie, thank you so much for having me here. This is so wonderful for you to actually involve me in such an amazing project. So thank you so much.
Oh, are you kidding? I think everyone listening is going to get a lot out of your story because you have so much experience as an artist, a professional artist, and we're just grateful that we get to kind of delve into your life and how you became an artist and all the interesting things that you experienced in your life.
Well, thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to this. This should be fun.
Okay, great. Well, obviously, we want to start off with your childhood.
Yeah.
I read your bio, and when we were looking at your bio, we are saying, okay, you traveled abroad. What is that about, and where were you born, and all this stuff. So, tell us what we don't know about your childhood.
Yeah, sure. So it's funny. I literally was talking to a fellow student of mine the other day, and how I'd expressed, without really thinking about how my art has been with me my whole life, even from a young kid. I can vividly remember when I was probably around the age of like 6 or 7. And it was probably the earliest recollection of me actually getting into drawing and painting. And I remember I was obsessed, highly obsessed with dinosaurs. I would book out every book from the library that you could imagine. Do you remember those
Wow.
wonderful
Yes. Oh,
illustrations that would
yes.
be
All
in
the
books?
details. Oh, yes.
Oh, and I was just enamored by it. And I remember vividly one day just sitting down. I can remember it like yesterday, just sitting down at a table, and I had a book, and it was just a picture of a T-Rex, and I got a piece of paper beside it, and I drew it, and I didn't trace it. I drew it,
Right.
just looking at the book and looking at the paper, and I drew this dinosaur, and I was utterly thrilled that I could actually
Wow.
do this. It was my first recollection of like, wow, I can't believe I was actually able to do that.
Really? You had no training or classes or anything like that?
No, well, we
Wow.
did have art classes, but
Okay.
maybe it was even younger than that. I can't really remember. I think it probably was younger than that. But I
Okay.
remember being so excited by it. And it really wasn't that impressive, but it was, to me, it was like a real groundbreaker. I
Wow.
remember being so excited. I folded it up, put it in my top pocket, and took it to school the next day, and everybody would just be saying, "No way, you traced that." And so
Right.
I was really fond of it, and I sort of started drawing many different dinosaurs obviously after that, and I was just obsessed with them.
Oh,
And I
wow.
think that was the real starting point for me, and it just, giving yourself a little bit of confidence, basically saying I can actually do this,
Right.
is a great thing. So there
Wow,
we have it.
that is incredible. I mean, so obsessed with dinosaurs, and then how old were you when you got out of dinosaurs and into other things?
Oh, so yes, I went through school. I grew up in England for the first few years, but then I moved to the Middle East, and lived there for 10 years. My father got a job with an American company, and we lived in a compound.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it was a wonderful childhood. I had a fantastic childhood. The desert, I just loved the desert. And it was just a wonderful place to live. And I just explored art, and you go through the motions of figuring things out. I had a
Yes.
pretty good art teacher when I was growing up at school.
Okay.
Um, and then we moved back to England, and I went to school there, and I really didn't fit into school, to be honest with you. I didn't mind it. It was great. I made some great friends, obviously.
Right.
Um, but I really felt inside of me, I was like, it was just like, dude, I just don't feel like I really belong.
Really?
Do you know what I mean
Yeah.
when
Oh,
it
yeah,
comes to that?
absolutely.
And I just felt, is this it? Is this what it's all about? Is this? I just don't feel very comfortable in this environment.
Yeah.
And
So what did art do
and
for you then? Did that help you feel confident
well,
or
it was
give you
the
an
only
identity?
thing. It was the
Okay.
only thing that I was any good at. I mean,
Oh,
I was rubbish at school. I was terrible. I didn't really do very well at all. But I really enjoyed art, and art to me was was my thing. And I loved to doodle, and I didn't really read much, to be honest. I'm not a
right.
very big reader. I tend to look out the window quite a bit and
Ah,
just
I can
gaze at
relate.
things. Yeah,
I still
right.
do.
No, and I still do that. And
Yeah.
so I didn't do very well at school, but then I applied for art college, and it's funny, art college. People talk to me about that. The first time I applied, I didn't get in
Really?
to art college.
Oh,
No,
wow.
I didn't get in, and there was a big reason, and it was probably one of the most valuable reasons or important parts of my life. Is I applied, and I was obsessed with drawing monsters and dragons, and going back to dinosaurs and things like that. And I was obsessed with it, and I just did it all the time. I used to study all these fantasy artists,
Oh,
and
yeah.
just got incredibly obsessed with these beautifully rendered paintings and illustrations.
Wow. Okay,
And
so were they oils and acrylics or
yeah, oils, acrylics, airbrush was a big thing
oh,
back in those
yes.
days.
Right.
And I was just enamored by the quality of the work, and I tried to mimic that.
Okay.
And I went to art college, and the instructor said to me, "Christian, these are all really technically very good, but we want to see life drawing. We want to see drawings of fruit and figures
Oh
and
my gosh,
drawing
right.
from life." And 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 I didn't get in, and I was absolutely, Stephanie, I was absolutely gutted. I
Oh
was
my
gutted.
goodness.
No, it was like, I can't believe this has happened. What do I do now? But honestly, looking back, that was probably one of the most vital years of my life, building my portfolio
Really?
from there
Okay.
onwards with all that. And they were absolutely right. They were absolutely right. I never forget one day doing these monsters before I had the interview,
Right.
and my dad was flicking through my portfolio, and my dad's a construction worker,
Right.
and he literally he said, "That's not what they want to see."
Ah. Oh my gosh, he knew.
And I went, "What do
Jeez.
you know?" I said, "What do you know about
Right.
it? Whatever." And he was obviously absolutely right.
Oh
And
my goodness.
so I spent the year developing my portfolio, and I
Okay.
got in the next
Wow.
year. So,
Okay, so that's incredible. Okay, that's a great lesson. And did you enjoy putting all those things in that you weren't interested in? Or
well, I
did you become
learned
interested?
stuff.
Okay, you did.
I learned things, and I went, "Oh my gosh, I can see it now." You have to learn the fundamentals
Right.
first. Obviously, you have to learn the stuff that you need to know first. You have to build up. I was at school. I thought I was this cocky young kid
Oh,
because
right.
I could draw everything like a photograph. I thought I was an artist. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
And you really don't realize that you know nothing until I went to art college. I knew nothing.
Well, I mean, obviously you were a talent, but yes, I totally get that. So you felt like, oh my gosh, all these people are like me? Did you feel like that bubble burst a little bit when you got into college or
Oh, it was night and day. It was like,
really?
oh my gosh, I knew that something wasn't right. I knew this is where I belonged.
Oh, that's
It
great.
was incredible. Like the first day, I had this bloke, I can't remember his name, but he sat next to me, and he had purple hair, and he had the front of his hair shaped, beautifully sculpted into the shape of a unicorn, horn, a unicorn horn. And every time he turned to talk to me, I had to duck and stuff like that. But I was like, yes, this is it. I've arrived.
Oh my god.
These are the people that I need to be around. And I joined I joined the college, and just surrounded by just talent,
Right. Right.
just these incredibly talented people, and you're like, oh my goodness, I've found my calling. And you know how your standard rises when you're around people like that. It's
Absolutely.
you really work harder, and I literally. So my first college that I went to was a college in Rochester in Kent, and Rochester is renowned for it's got an old medieval town as a castle from 1066.
Right.
It has a cathedral, an old cathedral, cobblestone roads, and it actually has a little house where Charles Dickens would write a lot of his novels.
Oh, wow.
Um, and so when I was walking through the town in the morning, this medieval village, sorry, I would just whatever, 1060 Castle, 1066, whatever,
Oh my
cathedral,
God.
whatever, Charles Dickens. And now when I go back, what do I go and see? The castle from 1066, the cathedral.
Exactly. Now it's
And so,
interesting. Yep. That makes sense. You know, you appreciate things
yeah,
when you get older.
yes, no, it was a great place to go. And then I went on to do my higher national diploma at Bournemouth
Oh,
Art
right.
College, Bournemouth and
Wow.
Paul College of Art and Design. And so the funny thing was, when I was at Rochester, we start with a fine art course the first year. You basically, that means, I don't know if you have a similar thing here, but that means you basically dabble in everything: photography, life
Okay.
drawing, print
So it's one
working.
course, but it covers all those?
It's the national diploma is basically 1 year of foundation course,
Okay.
and at the end of your foundation course, you're then asked to make a decision. What do you want to do? Do you want to do graphic design, or do you want to do illustration?
Oh, okay.
And at the end of the year, it tore my heartstrings out because my head said, I've got to get a career, so I chose graphic design.
Oh, of course,
But
right?
deep down inside, I was really gutted because I love to paint and I love to draw, and I saw this wonderful work coming out from the illustrators, and I was
Oh,
really
yeah.
cut up about it. So much so that every night after doing design, I would go back home and I would draw and paint because I just
Oh,
still had to have it,
right.
within me.
So you always
And
kind of knew that. I think it sounds like, being a fine artist is kind
yeah,
of, yeah, that was always in
and
you.
I made the decision, and I ended up having a very good career out of graphic design.
Oh,
Just here in Bournemouth, I went
yeah.
to Bournemouth, and Bournemouth was I went to do graphic design, and so it's almost like a reverse of what happened at Rochester. So I went to do my higher national diploma in graphic design, and a few weeks in, I said, I just don't, I'm not enjoying this. And I'd made friends with a few people who were doing animation upstairs. It was this small class of 10 people with a wonderful professor. And, um, and I kept going up there and going, oh my gosh, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to be. This is what I want to do. And I made the decision a few weeks in to basically say, I went up to my tutor and I said to him, look, is there any way I can change to animation? I really feel like I have a passion for this. And he was great in that he said, no problem. And so I went and joined the animation class.
Oh,
And
that's wonderful.
probably in hindsight, everybody was laughing at me saying, oh,
Really?
if you want to chuck your career away, that's up to you. You'll be doing cartoons for the rest of your
Oh,
life and all that
right.
sort of nonsense. And, and I probably, looking back on it, it was the most important decision that I had probably ever made in my life in regards to my art journey.
Right. It's
Um,
perfect timing for the times, right? I mean, that was late 80s or
oh, it
90s,
was,
something like
yes,
that.
and combining. So I still had a little bit of graphic design knowledge behind me, and combining the animation as well
Right.
helped me. Would put me in a position where I applied for a job. Then my career started as a graphic animator, graphic on-air designer. And so I first started off. My first job as a designer was I actually got an apprenticeship for GMTV, which is equivalent to like the Today Show here in America. It's the
That's
big one
incredible.
in,
Really?
yeah, yeah. It
Wow.
was it was insane. I mean, there was 500 people that applied for the job, and I don't know how I managed to get it, but I managed to
Wow.
get it.
Okay.
And and basically I was there and as a designer for the company, and so I worked the graveyard shift. So one of the advantages, talking about art being with me for my entire life, one of the advantages of traveling up, because it was the graveyard shift. So I started at, I believe, 9 o'clock at night, and I finished at 7 in the morning, because you had to prepare all the graphics during the night for the morning show.
Oh, sure.
And um, one of the advantages of actually going up to London on a train at that time of night is you get to experience every drunkard you could ever imagine on the train.
Right.
Everybody that you could imagine is on that train. And so I would sketch a lot of these people while I was doing that. And I think a lot of it was based on me getting the ego of everybody saying, "Oh, that's so," because they were obviously drunk.
Right.
That's
Well,
so
combined.
brilliant. Oh, you're a brilliant artist. And I sort of loved it.
That's
That's
amazing. Oh,
and so that was so again, art was with me all through my
right.
career in
Yeah.
England and
Wow.
over here as well. So I worked there, and basically, because I was an apprenticeship, they let go of me after 6 months.
Oh, wow.
But
Okay.
the
So,
crazy thing, how things are very funny how things work out. So I was leaving, and there was a bloke starting, and I can't remember his name, but he said to me, "Look, you want to phone this guy? He's the Rod Ellis, the head of sports graphics for the BBC. You need to phone him because they're looking for someone." So I phoned him. I had an interview, and they took me on. And I worked for the BBC for basically 5 years, and it was a great job because it was sport, and I was really into sport. So I
oh,
got to meet
yes.
a lot of famous sports people within that time. But
Was your
because it
favorite
was
team in
owned,
there? Tottenham?
oh yes, oh yeah, we covered a lot of Tottenham games and a lot of the Premier League, to be honest with you.
Oh,
And
that's incredible.
the advantage of being at the BBC, because I only had a few. I only really worked Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They gave me the advantage of being able to freelance at other companies. So
Oh, that's great.
yeah, so I ended up working Nickelodeon, MTV,
Really?
various other companies as a freelance designer.
How
It was
cool is
great.
that?
I absolutely loved it. I loved it.
That's amazing. Wow, you had a very amazing start as an artist. That's incredible.
I was
Probably because you're
lucky.
talented too. I know you're going to say lucky, I'm guessing, but
Very no, it was incredibly lucky to have that
right,
opportunity to do that. But all the way through it, Stephanie, my art was there. It's so funny when I look back how it was always there.
right. You just had that desire. You couldn't stop even if you wanted to, basically.
It's sort of like brushing your teeth every day.
Ah,
You have
there
to
you
do
go.
it. In my mindset, I had to do it. So
Right. Okay, so then you meet your wife in England, right?
that's great. I met Kate. So what's funny when I look back on, I said I missed that year of college, that year that I didn't get in to
Right.
college.
Okay.
I got in the next year. If I'd got in the year before, I would never have met my wife at Bournemouth,
Really? Oh my
because
goodness.
I met her the last year of my education,
Oh,
which meant.
wow.
So isn't it funny how things work out?
Yes.
And
Fate.
we've been
Love it.
together now for 30 years, so it's
Oh my
pretty.
goodness. Oh, and you have two kids,
Two young kids. Yeah,
happy
they
infants.
still, yeah, they still love me,
Yeah,
which is
that's
good.
good. See, you're doing good. That's amazing. So,
Yeah.
okay, so how do you get to America? What's the reason
Oh,
for it and how did this happen?
yeah. So I took my brother-in-law and my sister um, lived in Colorado, and so I came over for a holiday,
Okay.
and I basically fell in love with Colorado. The landscape. It's just such a beautiful place.
It
We
is.
have all the seasons here. They are extreme, and
Right.
I kind of love that. Um,
Right.
but I said, "Gosh, I think I could live here. This is just so amazing." But I doubt I'll get a job. And I ended up getting a job for a television like movie network.
Oh, wow.
Uh, and they flew me over for an interview, and I took the job, and we moved over here, and I always say so I'm an instructor, so I teach people the basic theory of my artwork, and I always say to people, when I first came over here, after squinting for 6 weeks because it's so bright here
Oh,
compared to England.
right.
I
Yes, it's always
eventually opened
cloudy
my
there.
eyes. Yes,
Oh my
yes,
gosh.
yes. I
Well,
eventually opened my eyes, and uh, just the landscape, Colorado. It just grabbed me. It was
oh,
incredible.
it's
So.
one of my favorite states. It's so magical, so I get that. And then is that when the love of wildlife came in because it's so incredible there. If anyone hasn't been there, I mean, it's wildlife everywhere, you know. So
Definitely. Definitely. It was, so I moved here and I took a trip to, when we first moved here, we took a trip to Santa Fe,
oh
and it
yeah.
was like lighting a fuse for me. I'm obsessed, heavily obsessed with Native American art, design, and culture.
Oh
I'm not an
great.
expert. I'm from, I lived in
Right.
London. What
Yes.
do I know?
Right.
But it just grabbed me. Everything from the landscape to the culture to the Adobe living to the light, everything about it. And we ended up buying in Colorado. We ended up buying a fixer-upper on 10 acres of land in the foothills.
Oh, that's incredible.
And originally, it's so funny, but originally I said, right, we're just going to fix it up in 2 years. We're going to flip it, move on, and just make a profit meal. I ended up growing roots, and we stayed there for about 7 years,
Oh
and
wow. Okay.
it was just. I would say if there's any point, and it's as an artist, you're constantly aware of your surroundings. In London, I would paint. When I painted, I would do every shade of grey, buildings and things like that, because that's what I was around. And when I moved out here and I lived on the land, I'm not exaggerating here. I would see bear, mountain lion, coyotes, wild turkey, foxes, elk, deer, skunk, everything.
Oh, that's incredible.
And I always say they always say, why do you paint wild? Why do you do it? And I said, well, it was something that, I'd go on a walk, or I would just see briefly like a fox or a bear
Right.
in nature just roaming around, and it would invite me into its home for a very short amount of time, let me look at it for a little bit, and then and don't you have those moments when you see
Oh
something
my
in nature
goodness.
and you go,
Yeah.
it makes your day?
It's my favorite thing. I wait for it. I try to show up for it. It's I'm all about it anywhere. Anywhere I go. But yeah, I get that. It's just such a majestic moment. You're capturing moments with these beautiful animals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as an artist, I said, I've got to try and figure out a way to make these experiences really interesting. It was funny. I've been very fortunate in my work. A lot of people own my work, but what's really uncanny is the the actual. If we all have the same thing in common. Even though I've experienced it, people say, "Oh, that just reminds me so much of when I experienced a raccoon," or
Right.
they're really cheeky. So you put a little bit of a cheeky element into the painting, and
Right.
that's why my paintings, when you look at them, they're slightly broken up. I don't really paint what I see. I try to paint what I remember, and
Okay.
that's why it's slightly different and a bit sort of mixed up, like a puzzle, a
Oh, I
little bit,
see.
trying to figure things out. I live by this quote: "The job of the artist is to deepen the mystery," and I
Ah,
live by
I
it.
love that. And I mean, you're a very distinctive artist. I mean, it's you're stylized. It's like this is a Christian Dore when you're looking at the painting, and to develop this style and what you're saying is breaking up these pieces. I mean, your color choices too. Everything is to me very interesting. How did how did you come up with this? Is it just something that you just grew over time, or is it something it just popped in your head and said this is it? Or
Yeah. Well, first, thank you very much. That's amazing. Right, you can
yeah.
keep talking, Stephanie.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
No, no,
I will. I can.
no. I'm joking. But no, it obviously has evolved. It obviously has evolved. So it started off very different, very blocky, very similar to what I used to paint in London, and but with the colours you get here, I'm obsessed with the colours. Like people
Yes.
unaware to me, I tend to paint the seasons. If it's winter,
Oh,
I will
yeah.
paint winter tones. If it's
Yeah.
summer or spring or fall, I'll paint those tones.
I can see
And I
that
tend
in your work. Yes, for sure.
I tend to do that. Again, it's you're living in that environment, so you're aware of what's happening with you at that time. And so it has evolved, and honestly, I hope it continues to evolve, because I think, and I also say this to a lot of my students, the worst thing that can possibly happen to me with my artwork is for me to get bored.
Oh,
It's the
yeah.
worst thing that could possibly happen. So I intentionally try to make it slightly different. Very obviously, it's slow. The changes are slow,
Right.
but I try to every 5 years. I'd love to see a slightly different thing happen every 5 years. That would be really incredible.
I think that that's it. You seem like an artist that challenges himself, and is that
Yeah.
part of the thrill of,
D-
changing or moving, doing different things, going to different places?
100%. I mean, it's so funny. You know, you wish you could go back and talk to yourself when you were younger, when
Yes.
you're first starting out. I really wish I could do that and just say, look, that. So I invite the accident to happen now. So I really do start off my paintings. It's arguably probably one of the ugliest, horriblest paintings you've ever seen when it starts off. And it's deliberate. And it took me a long time to realize that mistakes are actually the greatest thing for an artist to
Oh,
have, I think.
I love
And
that.
and to have permission, to give yourself permission to accept them as, so I make a really terrible mess and then I'll look at it. I'll just look at the mess and say, what do I see? What do I see within the mess? What do I see? What? And I'm not saying you'll see all, I won't see all of it. I won't
Right.
see a whole bison or anything like that. I'll just see 10% of something, like the legs or the horn, and I'll just start. Sometimes I'll let the painting talk to me,
Oh,
and
wow.
so I'm inviting the happy accident to happen. I hope that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. So you're discovering the piece, and you're letting it lead the way. You're just kind of that's incredible. That sounds so you don't have this plan like I'm going to do a bird and the bird's going to be
I
like this and the colors are going to be that,
It's a great question, and it's one that I say. So what I do if I'm planning anything, I carry around my sketchbook everywhere,
Okay.
and I doodle a lot. I mean, I literally so the work, I would say 80% of my work is in my sketchbook.
Well, your
And
sketches are incredible. I mean, just
oh,
alone, your sketches. I mean, I'm in love with every sketch you have, it's incredible.
oh,
Yeah.
oh, thank you. That's so wow. Thank you,
Seriously.
Stephanie. That's
Not
no,
everyone sketches like you.
well, it's. Do you know what? There's, believe it or not, there are some really horrible ones as well. There's
Okay.
quite a lot of horrible ones, and I'm completely fine with that.
Right.
I think it's really important to get over this. The one thing I really have a hard time with looking at is when people show me perfect sketchbooks. Every page is perfect.
Oh, I see.
It really irritates me.
Oh,
I get
interesting.
really irritated by it. I say, I want to see the work. I want to see the struggle. I want to see you figuring out how to turn little doodles into these incredible drawings. I
Yes.
live by this quote as well. There's a massive reason the word pain is in the word painting. I don't. I,
Yes.
I live by it.
Wow.
I think it's a very important thing to realize that. Um, so what I'm basically doing with my sketchbook, I'm creating a library of imagery in my head. I hope this
Right.
makes sense.
Yes.
Of all
Okay.
these different stylized sketches, and I'm doing lots of them, so I'm sort of familiar with them. So when I look at the mess in a painting, going back to the painting, I can see the drawings that I've drawn before. Does that
Oh,
make
yes,
sense?
that makes sense. Oh, wow, that's incredible. I love that process. Wow.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And do you know what? Occasionally, like when I get commission work, obviously you have to
Sure.
plan them. You
Yes.
have to plan those. You have to do sketches. You have to talk it over with the collector, decide
Yes.
what they want, and you have to plan. Some I do, but I think
Okay.
there's something really romantic about just letting it, letting your, just doing what you want to do within the mess. I think
Yeah,
there's
I
something
think that's
really,
where the
really
magic happens, right? I mean, and
where the
yeah,
magic
commissions are a
happens.
little difficult, but at the same time, it's kind of an honor to create for someone. And do you like connecting with the clients and having that part?
Definitely. And so what's really wonderful is and I'm very fortunate, is if a collector comes to me and they go, we like your work. And I said, well, look, we literally get together. We have a very brief conversation about what they want, what's important to them
Right.
in regards to the piece. And I say, look, I'm going to go away and do a few little sketches, a few little doodles. They're not very, so they might not be that impressive. And I said, there's no color. And then they'll turn to me and say, then the best thing they can say to me is, Christian, I trust you. And
Oh, yeah.
every commission I've done that has had that that sort of guideline presented to me,
That's great.
they they always turn out. The clients love it, and it's the best way, I think, to create a piece of work for someone because you are enjoying what you're painting.
Right.
And I think that's very important.
Yeah, instead of filled with fear if they're gonna like it or not, and you're just letting loose and
Yeah,
just
and there is
yeah.
a little bit of that that creeps in. Of
Yeah.
course, there's a little
I
bit of
was gonna
that that
say I do it
creeps
all the
in.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a little bit that you're going, "Oh my goodness, are they going to like this?" And it ends up being great in the end.
Right.
But it's. I think that's actually a very good thing.
Oh,
You're
absolutely.
you're focused on the work, and I think that's a good thing.
Right. So you're working you were working at Stars, right? How many years did you work for them?
So yes, I worked for Stars for 20 years
Okay.
as a designer, and it was a great job.
Yeah.
And then one day they came to me out of the blue, and they came to half the company, a lot of people within the company, probably half maybe, and they gave us the letter of redundancy.
Oh
And
my
so
goodness.
we were given that, and I honestly, I'm going to be completely honest here. I thought, right, this is it. You've been
Right.
given your opportunity. This is it. Because if I hadn't been laid off, I'd still be there, no doubt.
Right.
And I said,
Right.
right, well, you've got to make a go of it now. I mean, I'd been in galleries prior to that,
Yes. Yeah,
all
we
over
had
the
we met
country.
how many years before that happened? I mean, in
Yes,
2013, we met at a
yeah,
gallery show in Murata Gallery in Denver. We had a group
that's right.
show, and we kept on getting in trouble because we wanted to talk to each other, and we loved each other's work, and we just like whatever. And
Right.
the owner Steve kept on going, "Get back to work," because we were both doing demos, and
No.
you were
And we couldn't be
creating.
pulled away. We
No,
couldn't
it
be
was
pulled
like
away.
you were speaking my language. I grew up in the forest. I was all about animals. So when you were creating this dragonfly, which is like my spirit, I was so like enthralled of what you were doing. I wanted to know everything about you. And what was interesting is that meeting, I remember after the show, we talked for a couple hours and you were telling me like, listen, I'm a father. I have a full-time job at Stars and, I support my family and I can't leap. Even though you had the potential to be in every gallery all over the United States, it would be impossible because you would need that time to create. And I felt for you because, when I came up, I didn't have that. I had my husband just say, he was my steady Eddie and I just leaped, but, for you to
Right.
kinda have that experience of just being pushed out, like, "Okay," and you were already in a couple galleries, at that point,
Right.
or even
Right.
more. You were already established and, well known and famous and things like that, so, um, you kinda had a good thing to jump on, right? You had a lot of collectors all around the world, which is,
Yeah,
amazing.
there's a point of when I left, I was like, yeah, I had a lot of collectors at that point, a lot of
Yeah.
people interested in my work, and isn't that wonderful? I mean, honestly,
Yes.
I'm so
Incredible.
grateful.
Yes.
But yes, it's a risk.
Right.
I've got kids. But I didn't look back.
Wow.
I was off to the races, and I didn't look back. I started applying for uh, you know teaching instructor jobs, and I was fortunate to get a job. It wasn't full time; it's very part time in
Right.
regards to the amount of hours I did. But I got a job as an instructor teaching sketching and painting at the Art Students League of Denver,
Oh, amazing.
and
Okay.
it was incredible. It was an amazing. If I can give any nugget of information to any artist, it would be, if you want to market your work, I think it's incredibly important to teach a class.
Right.
Um, it's word of mouth. I still believe is the best form of marketing, and it was an amazing experience. People wanted to do the class. I don't know why, but they wanted to do the
Really?
class. Um, and I taught them my theory, which is very basic, very simple. It's funny. I say the most frustrating thing about the class at the very beginning of the class. I always say the most frustrating thing about the class is it's taken my whole life to figure this out.
Oh,
But
wow.
from my
Okay.
point of view, I can teach it to you in a few hours. So from my point of view, very frustrating. Very
Oh my gosh,
frustrating.
that's amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you
And
teach
so,
your art, your style, or do you just teach?
yes,
Oh,
yeah.
wow. Okay. I
And
did not know
so,
this. Okay.
I'd get things like my mum would say, "Stop telling people your secrets," and things
Right.
like that.
Yes.
But I said, "Mum, it doesn't work like that because the way it's set up." And so, what's really amazing is with the theory that I teach, everybody has different things going
Right.
on up in their brain. They've got different. They live in a different world. And they transform that onto the canvas. So everybody I teach in the class, everybody's style is completely different when they've finished the class. And I love that.
Oh, that's great.
All they've done is embrace the theory, the
Right.
simple theory, and it's helped them. And I've taught many people, and from all walks of life,
Right.
and they've come up to me and said, "This has massively changed my life." I'm a huge believer that artwork has healing properties. People will
Absolutely.
pay a lot of money to actually forget things in their life, and I actually really truly believe that you need a piece of paper and a pencil to do that.
Right, to escape into, do you feel like, I mean, obviously healing, that's what I'm all about, so I get that.
Yeah,
And a lot of artists that tune in, the whole purpose of this podcast is to help artists break through those things that you talked about and to find that escape into themselves, instead of escape into a movie or a book or something. You're actually arriving with yourself and turning off all the noise and everything goes quiet. So it's
it's exactly right. Too right. That's perfectly put. I mean, you just everything, I don't know why it works. I'm sure it has to do something with switching on the right side of your brain,
oh yeah,
and it makes you forget everything else. It does work.
right.
And I have the worst blood type pumping through my veins on a daily basis. I have Irish and Scottish blood
Oh,
colliding
okay.
daily, so I need this in my life. I always say to people as well that we're talking about art and what it does for you, and it's a great hobby. And I always say it's not a hobby. I said it's. I think to have typically a good balance in your life, I
Yes.
think you need a few things. You need obviously a good diet, which I fail at miserably. Miserably.
Okay.
You need to have. You obviously need to exercise,
Right. Move. Hmm.
but I really believe that not as a hobby, but the third thing, I really believe that you need to have a creative outlet to have just a good well-being in yourself. I think it's very important. We've
Yeah.
been doing it forever.
Right.
It's not something new. It's been going on since the beginning of time. And
Exactly.
I think I'm highly obsessed with, like I said, Native American art culture. I
Right.
love petroglyphs. I love rock
Oh,
art.
that's
That
amazing.
stuff has been around forever, and I still get highly inspired by looking at those things.
Right. I always ask, do you get high off of nature? Because I feel like I do. And is there
Oh,
something wrong with me?
100%. I am literally I have a tiny little cabin up in the mountains, and I'm there right now. I'm looking out the window, and
Oh,
there's
right.
some beautiful like fall colors. And you know what happens? I have a wonderful couple of days here. It's funny. I talked to my wife Kate, and I said when we're down in Denver, I say, I needed to fix that nail. I forgot to do that
Yeah.
last time. I need to go up there.
Right.
I need to go up there now, and I need to go and fix it. And I come up with a sketchbook. I don't take paints with me or anything,
Okay.
and I doodle the whole weekend. And I'm surrounded by trees, and so I
Right.
feel like I'm gaining some sort. I feel energized when I leave, and I also feel very
Yes.
sad when I leave.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the magic of the energy of nature. Now, do you have
Definitely.
nature around you in Denver? Is there, I mean,
Yes, oh,
yeah.
of course we
Okay.
do. We do, but it's just
But
not. It
nothing the
just
same.
doesn't. It just doesn't seem the same. I need to have. I call it my sanctuary. I need to have the cabin. I can't just look online at pictures
No.
of elk
Right.
and moose and say, oh, I can replicate that. There's
Sure.
something about experiencing it in the wild. I
Oh,
hope that makes
yeah. That
sense.
does, absolutely. Wow. That, I mean, that's inspiring. I mean, that's how you get inspired. That's beautiful. And that's interesting that you just sketch. You sketch those moments, you capture them, and
Yeah, and
they go inside you and you bring it home and create.
and I and I bring it home and I create, trying
Yeah.
to remember. Why is it that I can see a crow fly past me in the sky, and it's only seconds,
Right.
but it's miles more like inspiring to me as an artist than looking at a perfect picture of a crow on online. I
Yes.
don't. It's that
Yeah.
moment that you've connected with wildlife. I
Right.
think. I
Yeah, the
think.
spirit and yeah, gosh. Well, I think that that's why I fell in love with you. I feel the same way. And my dad was like American Indian, and he made
Oh,
us like love nature. Like we couldn't go for a short walk without him noticing a flower, a bunny, or some kind of. We always had to soak up everything around us, and that I think started my like love of animals, and I maybe
yeah.
became obsessed. But that's why I collect your work. I love my paintings that you created, and I ended up actually buying that dragonfly after I kept on calling you
Right.
asking, is that dragonfly done yet? You know, I couldn't wait to buy it. And so I found out it got into the gallery. It was, I buy a painting or something art wise for my birthday every year. And so I was so excited that I was able to buy that. And you sent me this write up about what it meant and the experience of this dragonfly and the day where you were observing them. And it was so detailed and moving. I was just floored, you know, because not every artist does that, you know, has something even
Mm.
written up about their experience creating it, because that's what we kind of possess is those experiences. That's that's why we can let go of our art. But you're very it's just so deep, and it was so interesting. Is that something you do with all of your paintings?
Yes, so it's so I'm in the advantage right now. So as you know, I I was in a lot of galleries all over the
Yes,
country, from
right,
Malibu down to Key West to Santa Fe,
right.
um, and uh, and it's so ironic now that I've reverted back to just doing a couple of outdoor tent shows.
Oh, why is that? What do you think that's about?
And going back to what
Oh,
you're saying,
yes.
you know, about talking to the clients and that, I do it because I get to talk to my collectors
Oh,
deeply
yes.
about the work,
Right.
and I think there's a connection there. And I think, you know, the amount of times I've heard I literally wasn't going to buy art today, and I came by your tent, you talked to me about the work and what inspired you, and it reminded me of this in my life, and I had to get it.
Oh, wow.
And so,
Okay.
and so I think it's very important that to have a connection and a conversation at least with people about the work. And I think they that you know, because artwork is, a like I said, it's very healing. I have pieces of artwork in my home that aren't mine, but I
Right.
love them.
Right.
Like I have a great piece, right? When you walk in my house, it's by some woman in California. Uh, what is her name again?
Oh, yeah.
and,
Uh,
and so I have a huge Stephanie Paige,
oh my gosh.
beautiful piece that every day I look at it. You know, do you know if
Oh,
it
I
just
love
gives
that.
you like a tiny little percentage of feeling good? Isn't that
Oh,
worth
right.
everything?
Yeah. Well, we
And
traded the paintings because we fell
that's
in
right.
love with these paintings at a show at Kelvin Charles, and we had to talk the owner into letting us trade the best pieces that we had there. And she reluctantly said yes, but we were like, yes. And it's my favorite painting too. It's called Rain, and it's hanging over our bed now because I used to have it in my living room for years. My son kept on throwing chocolate milk at it and whatever, and I just was like, no. So I put it somewhere safe. But every morning I wake up and I look at that, and it's the most peaceful painting. And the story behind that, you telling me the story just makes it more so. And you connecting me with me about it is like, it makes the art more, it just more powerful, and you feel it deeper, and it's incredible. And you know, we'll be on YouTube, we'll be showing these art as we talk. So if you wanted to see the art and hear Christian talk, we're going to show the art that relates to everything that's going on. But so let's go back to why did you get out of galleries and go into just representing yourself?
Well, you know, it's again, it's funny how things work out. I was always a painter that I am never going to paint small, ever
Right.
going to paint small, never. I like the big canvas. I think it's a lot more dynamic. I think it's more impressive. And I thought I'd never do it. So in the studio, I would create these small 8 by 10 tests, I would call them, where I would just really loosely do these drawings. And I think a lot of that has helped with me evolving as an artist. But
Okay.
I would finish these and just throw them in the corner, right? I wouldn't really pay much attention to showing them to anyone. And people would come round and they'd want to see the studio, which, by the way, is very unimpressive. It's
Oh, come on.
not this incredible place at all, but it's my place. It's a
Right.
great place for me to create.
Right.
And so they would come down. They go, well, this is really, oh, look at these pieces, wonderful. But what are those like thrown in the corner over there?
Right.
And I would say, oh, no, no, I'd put my hands in the way. And I go, no, 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 you don't want to see those. You don't want to
Really?
see those. And I would get some relatively positive comments. And one day I said, you know what, I'm just going to frame these and we're going to have a party. And I'm going to put like 40 of these on the wall
Right.
just to, just to show people that, just as a talking point, really, and not really thinking. I sold the whole lot in one night.
Really? Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Wow.
everything went, and I said, "There's something about this." And so going back to why I do the tent shows, COVID came around, and I thought
Oh, right.
that's my art career over. As a lot of artists probably
That's
thought,
true.
that's it. Nobody's going to be we're not nobody's going to be buying art. No one's going to be doing this, and it was the opposite, Stephanie. It was the opposite. I set cameras up in my studio. I did online classes. And the first show that came after, like a few years after COVID, was they were starting to let people get together and stuff like that. The
Right.
first show in Denver was at the Summer Art Market, by hosted by the Art Students League, and and I said, well, let's just take all these smaller pieces down, and not thinking much of it.
Right.
And I remember like an hour into the show, the event starting. It was an outdoor event, so it's a tent show. So you have a little tent and you hang all your work up. An hour into it, I remember my wife Kate looking over at me and going, "Oh my God, oh my goodness, what's going on here?"
Right.
It was just, things were just flying. Everybody was in such a was so excited to get outside and just enjoy it. I think people were fed up with their TVs. They wanted something to make them
Sure.
feel
Yeah.
happy. So the artwork was very important, and I sold everything in a day. And it's so funny
Oh my
how
gosh, that's incredible.
just just being able to talk to, and you've experienced it. You came to a show one year, didn't you?
Yeah, yes, that was the most incredible thing I've ever seen. As far as I think that's an artist's dream if they're at a booth selling out of their work, but I was there the first day, 2 hours in, and you were almost completely empty. People were I first grabbed my pieces I wanted right away because you had told me how everything was selling out, so I'm like, "Okay, I'm getting these." So I got 3 pieces, and then, just we stood back for, like, an hour just watching you, and people were just buying left and right, and they were connecting with you, and it was just such a I've never seen anything like it. It was so cool.
No, and do you know what's funny? I think you were there at the time, and so
Yeah.
Kate and I in the morning when we were loading everything into the car before the show, she said, "Why don't you take the big piece? That big piece." I
Oh,
said,
that's
"Kate, no
right.
one's going to buy that. No one's
That's
going to buy it." And
right.
we had a bit of a row. We had a bit of a row.
Yeah.
Well, I was saying this is just a waste of time. We're going to put. It's hard to put in the car because I don't want to damage it. It's
Right.
just a waste of time. Don't bother doing it. It's ridiculous. Why are we doing this? Blah blah blah. Get to the show. Set it up.
Right.
You come along. Do you remember the guy? He said, "I
Yes.
want it."
He just wanted it right away. I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Even the big piece is going." Jeez, that's
I was
amazing.
like, and I think I looked at you and I just in disbelief. I was like,
Oh,
and Kate. Then I looked at my wife and she had that look on her face, like, "Told you."
it's perfect.
It's
Oh,
so
that's amazing. And
incredible.
even
Isn't it?
that day you sold out the first day, you didn't even go
Yeah,
to the second day.
yeah. I don't. It's a bit arrogant to sort of say
I
that, but
know,
yeah,
but
it
it
was.
is pretty
Isn't it
impressive. Come on.
incredible when that happens? It's what an incredible. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that lovely that
Yes.
people have the same connection to the work? I love it.
Right. And you have incredible collectors, and they have been following you for years. And so I think when
Yeah.
this happened too, the collectors came too, because they knew your work, they collected your work, so they were excited to even get the smaller pieces. And so I think it's such a cool thing to see your following, show up in that way.
No, it's incredible. I'm incredibly gracious. I mean, honestly,
Right.
they're just so wonderful. They really do get the work, and I have many collectors that just they're so supportive.
Right.
I can't. It's isn't it? It's just wonderful.
Oh, that's great. So now, you're teaching, in how many places are you teaching?
Yeah, so I teach at Curtis Arts as well, Arts
Okay.
Students League, and then I do private classes, and then I'll do private studios,
Right.
where people bring me on, and there's a little bit of There's only like a max of 10 students, which is really wonderful,
Yes.
actually. When I first started out, I would teach in classes with 30 people, and it was
Oh my
just too
gosh.
much, really.
Right.
Um, but now it's really, really lovely, and I get to, show them what I create right now. So
Right.
it's great.
Well, for those of you that live in California or want to travel to California, Christian is coming to my studio to have a private retreat for the weekend for
That's right.
teaching, right? In March. We're not sure on the date, but
Can't
somewhere around
wait.
there. I can't wait
Can't
either.
wait.
That's going to be
I'm
incredible.
so excited. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for
Yeah.
sorting this out. I'm
Are you kidding?
absolutely thrilled. And one thing I will say, reaching out to people who are interested, if there is anybody that's interested, is like I said, the most frustrating thing about the class is it's taken me my whole life to figure this stuff out. But I can
Right.
teach it to you in hours.
Right.
But it's incredibly simple. It's
Right.
not. Don't worry. Everybody sort of goes. They come up to me in the classroom when they've signed on. And go, I just want to let you know I'm not a seasoned artist. I don't know how to really draw that
Right.
well. Don't worry. It's
Really?
all.
Great.
I'm going to dig all this stuff out of your brain, and we're going to put it onto paper and on canvas. And it's incredibly simple. But it's taken my whole life to figure out
Wow.
this theory and break it down into simple forms. Like every
Yes.
every person that becomes good at something, it looks really simple for them
Exactly.
because
Yes.
because of the amount of hours and practice and dedication they've put into it over their life.
Wow.
And so I
Okay.
break it down into simple terms, and it's incredibly fun. I want you to play. I don't want you to
Right.
paint or
Uh,
draw. I want you to play. So,
Oh my gosh. Well, hopefully this will be a start of something that we can take off on retreats all over anywhere. That'd be kind of fun.
oh,
But anyone
absolutely.
that's interested, they can email us and we can, get on the list. But of course, 10 people, that's not a lot. So it will kind of book up soon. And soon as, so anyone listening to the podcast is interested, we will put you on the list. But we'll put all the information on the website for the podcast and all that. But how cool is that? That would be so fun. I can't wait.
Oh, absolutely. And Stephanie has the most incredible studio. I'm so envious
Oh,
of your studio. The view is just stunning,
wow.
and so yeah, I could literally just stay there
Yep.
forever. It's incredible.
Oh, thank you. I love it too. Yeah, we just built a big studio out back where we had the best view, so it was kind of nice, and we're up on
Oh,
a hilltop and a bunch of trees. Not as cool as Colorado, but a little taste of Colorado. I have a whole bunch of pine
oh
trees.
no, it's absolutely delightful,
Yeah.
and I can see where you're being by the ocean, and Stephanie, you're an incredible artist,
Oh,
and I can see where your inspiration comes from. It's just unbelievable.
oh,
I
thank
love
you.
the ocean. I love the ocean.
Oh, me too. Well, you want to talk about when you came out and how you got inspired? I mean, we went
Yeah.
to La Jolla Cove. That was pretty amazing, the collection that you created after the visit.
No,
Just goes to show you how you're affected by your surroundings.
well, definitely, and it's a really valid point in that wherever I go, it's not just Colorado. Wherever I go, if I see something, I say, oh, I've got to try and figure out a way to quickly create this, and I
Right.
have to do it typically quite quickly after being there because otherwise it will slowly fizzle away.
Oh, right.
The whole inspiration will go away. So I came to visit Stephanie, and it's so funny. I tell this story to quite a lot of people, but I created a painting of seals, and there's this wonderful, beautiful place in San Diego called the Cove where there's loads of sea lions and seals, and it was just breathtaking to me. So when I'm walking down there, you can see the ocean, and there's this area that's protected, so you can't go on it.
Right.
And I remember seeing this head just bob up. And I turned to Stephanie. I said, "It's a seal!" I was screaming, "It's a seal in the water!" like this. And she just went, "Christian, I think you need to come down here
A
a little
little
bit further."
further. Keep walking, but you wouldn't. You stayed there for quite a long time. I'm
I
like,
stayed there
there's
forever,
more.
just trying to see that. She said, "Come on over here," and you can literally. It's beautiful in that you can literally walk down to the beach and walk around them.
Right.
And so it's the one time I talked to Stephanie about it. So I hope I wasn't being rude, but I was just taking
No, not at
photographs in
all.
my brain of everything around and taking photographs on my phone,
Right.
trying to get inspired. And so I came back to Denver and I just painted it.
Right.
And um, and we would. you'd think, well, who's going to buy a painting of seals in Colorado? Who's going to do that?
Right.
And it's so fun. It's so funny. I went to a conference and I took it with me to just present my artwork. And there was a lovely chap in the audience who was an ex-Navy SEAL,
Oh, cool.
and he ended up buying the piece, and he fell in love with it. It reminded him of his time as a SEAL,
Oh, that's
and
amazing. The
no,
piece is
it's it,
incredible, though. I was blown away. I mean, I have it on one of my screensavers. I keep seeing it. It's so beautiful. And we'll show it on our
oh, thank
YouTube
you.
thing, but it's an incredible piece. How
Well,
cool
thank
is
you. Yeah,
that?
I
Yeah,
really enjoyed painting it. It was really like, it was really enjoyable to paint that one.
right. Well, and I also have from your visit a pelican, and
That's right.
I love that piece and the colors and
Yes.
everything about it.
Oh,
If
I'm
I
great.
have
I'm
more
glad
walls, I'm trying to think. There's some little square inches that I gotta think of something or make walls in the middle of a room or something so I can take more.
you've got a great home for hanging artwork. You've got loads of walls. It's
Yeah,
really great. My
yeah,
house is completely full now
yeah,
with other people's artwork.
right. Yeah, exactly. But that's what's
Completely
great,
full.
it's great to collect art
Yes.
and it's such, I'm so grateful that we became buds when in 2013 and stayed
Oh,
connected and
yeah.
had shows together and traveled, all that stuff and just always a joy to communicate with you and I just knew that our listeners would just love your story and love hearing about your process and everything and so I encourage anyone to hop on to Christian's websites which we'll have but we can say it here what's your websites and your contact
Yeah.
Instagram is
So,
always great because you show all kinds of stuff on Instagram.
yeah. So, yeah. So my website's christiandore.com. It's very simple, all
Sure.
lowercase. And then you can reach me on Instagram at cdore art, A-R-T. That's my username, and you
Okay.
can follow me on there. And typically on Instagram these days, I will have a lot of my more recent sort of work
Right.
and just some stories behind the work, some photographs that inspired me.
That's
Um,
perfect.
but yeah, it's been an incredible. Isn't it funny now how we can easily promote our work so quickly?
I know, it's
It's
nice, isn't
incredible,
it? Well, hopefully
isn't
this
it?
will even do more so. And anyone
Oh,
interested in
thank you.
taking your classes, they can reach out to you on any of those platforms.
Yep.
Because that would be such an honor. I mean, I can't wait to take your class. I'm just excited. So I think that, uh, what you're doing is amazing. And I just love, obviously, I over like every single piece. I'm your top fan. I'm a little stalkerish on your Instagram, but, I can't help it.
You're incredibly supportive,
My son
incredibly
too. My
supportive.
son always, "Did you see Christian's
No,
piece? Oh my God, it's
uh,
so amazing." I go, "Of course I saw it. I liked it."
no, and he's such an incredible artist himself. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
wonderful to hear that, and so thrilled to hear that.
That's awesome.
No, definitely, it's honestly, I can't stress enough how important it is to even just try this. It helps me, and I know it works because of, without sounding arrogant, people come to me and say my life is completely different now. They'd have
Right.
problems in their life and it's completely changed.
Oh,
And so that to me is everything. So to continue to just hopefully help people would be wonderful, and just to evolve my work.
right.
Keep inviting the happy accident.
Exactly. I mean, I think you're in the embodiment of somebody that is living their life purpose because you're giving away something that you have been given as a gift and you're freely giving that away. You're sharing your experience and to me that is what life's all about, making the world around you a better place. And I think that's so beautiful about you and your art.
Oh, thank you. That's
Yeah.
it's wonderful, and it's the same with you and your work.
Oh,
I mean,
well,
people
thank
just
you.
love your work, and it's obviously got that healing
Yes.
property behind it, which is so important. And you're an incredible artist, and I really do cherish you doing this for me. Thank you.
Oh, well, I'm honored. Are you kidding me? This is amazing. But thank you again, and I will, everyone tune in, and we'll hopefully revisit Christian throughout the podcast verse about things here and there, and we'll be announcing dates for your class or your retreat, 2-day retreat.
Wonderful.
It's going to be amazing.
So excited. So grateful from one grateful artist to another.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you. Wow, that was a great interview with Christian Dore. I hope you liked it. He's a pretty amazing guy, one of my favorite people. So I'm so honored that he took the time to talk to us and share his story. If you are interested in his artwork, I do suggest you go on to christiandore.com. He has artwork for sale. I also would recommend you following him on Instagram because he will show his new work there. It's really exciting to see him in action. And also, his handle at Instagram is CDOREART. So definitely follow him there. And if you would like to take any of his classes, reach out to him on Instagram or on his website and find out where he's having classes, retreats, all that fun stuff. And if you're interested in the retreat that he's coming out in March in San Diego, California, then send us an email at art@Stephanie Paige Studio requesting to be on the list because it's only 10 spots. So it will fill up fast. Also, we are starting something new on our podcast. If you read The Grateful Artist and you feel moved or have any advice for any other artist, we would love to share it. If it's relevant to our show, we'll put your voice memos in there with your name and website and all that fun stuff. So send it in to art@stephaniepagestudio.com. And I'm so grateful this community is growing and look forward till next time.